Level 4. So let's assume that I do have to walk home. That is not what I want to have to do, but let's assume I have to. I just covered this bag, but I wanted to break it down a little bit. Kind of show you what's in it. I have another video on it, but I've changed a few things since then. And one of the things to understand is if I'm grabbing this bag, then this bag, or what I need from it's going in here. So this is going to complement this. Just throwing it out there in case there's any keyboard warriors that really want to just go at me on contents, things I'm missing, things I need. Now, if you have a constructive criticism throughout any of this, please give me your advice. I don't know everything. I haven't thought of everything. So really, throw it out there if you have some ideas. I really want to hear them. So, this is line 4, at least the start of line 4. It is a very expandable pack. It has the ability for the frame to come off of the pack. I'm going to include a video that I recently watched about this and how to do it. It was very, very well done. I don't know if I could do better. So instead of trying to mess it up, I'm going to link the video for them. You should watch that video. It really goes over in detail. The purpose of this is for hunting. That's what it was designed for. But the idea is that you can take the bag away from the frame and it gives you a space, and you can use a dry bag at that point, or whatever bag you would use for hauling pieces of meat from your kill out of wherever you're at, to basically plus up your gear, which again, that's what would happen with the EDC pack. If I was going through an urban area, I might wear this and throw my rifle in that. I'd have access if I went and was able to get the cover, and obviously I'm going to have my EDC with me as well. That's part of this whole system. Again, that's kind of the basis of the system is your EDC. But let's go over this pack. So inside the pack, on the very top of the pack, there is just a little area for quick grab goodies. What I have up there is a knit hat, a headlamp, and a handkerchief. I don't think you can go wrong with having a cotton handkerchief. It can come handy for a million different things, and you should always have headlamps with you. I set up the headlamps for storage. I turn one of the batteries so it can't accidentally be hit on, but at the moment I have this thing set up for class coming up, so the batteries are turned the other way, and I'll be checking all these before I go. By the way, if I haven't said it already, lithium batteries for the win. In the very top of the bag, let me just lay this sucker down so I can get to this stuff a little bit easier. In the very top of the bag, I have a broken down refuge kit. Got a pair of shears. I've got a windlass tourniquet, and stuck on the windlass tourniquet, actually stuck pretty well, is a rat's tourniquet in one of the SOE TKM4 pouches that they make, that they sell. Check it out. But I have a windlass tourniquet, I have a pair of shears, and this is all part of the refuge woodsman. I think it's called the woodsman kit or something like that. It's basically their kit designed for hunters. On top of the kit, there's a little like elastic thing here. I've got a Sawyer Mini. This all comes with the kit. And then when you break this bad mamma jamma open, it is a full-on trauma kit with some boo-boo stuff as well as some fire-making items. So this is designed for hunters, or if you're in the wilderness. By the way, my apologies if the wind noise is horrible. It's windy right now. But that's what this is. Again, I'll put the link below. I did a review on this. It's a great kit. I have the outer bag multi-purpose for a different use. But this is what's in their bag that you would attach to your molly. So that's all that stuff right there. That's medical. It's quick and go grab, the very top of the bag. These bags have what they call a tri-zip on them. They are designed for exactly what I'm doing now. If you wanted to, you can grab stuff out the top without opening the bag all the way. or you can unzip the middle zip and then you have full access. So this is the dry bag I was talking about. It's a Sea to Summit 35 liter dry bag. It's there for exactly what I talked about, is plussing up the bag and its capacities. On top here, I've got some food in this SOE pouch. This is one of their coffee day pouches. One is Velcro backed. And in here I just have like bars that won't melt. No chocolate bars. Like chocolate bars are no go in any area where the weather is constantly shifting. Just a heads up. I also have a couple Mountain House meals in here, and then some other just lickies, chewies. Like this is just food. If I need it, I probably just grab the bars and keep moving. In this very orange toiletry bag, I've got a bunch of stuff. So again, I recently went through this, kind of broke everything down. This is interesting. This is a rechargeable powered water filter system. So what you can do is you can basically stick one end in the creek, stick another end in your container, and go do other shit, which I think is awesome. It is awesome. I have used it with scouts on a camping trip. There goes the backdrop. Sorry for the pause there. The wind wanted to blow away my backdrop, which is just a screen for the porch. So this thing is great. I've used it on scouting trips before. Inside of this bag, I've got their system, plus I have one of the Cana water treatment thingies. If I can get it out of there, it's probably in the bottom. Maybe I don't have it in this. I don't have it somewhere. Oh, there it is. So this is really, really cool. Cana Provisions. This is a little water treatment pack, and it gives you what you need depending on how much water you're trying to treat. It has everything in there. So this is a complete self-contained kit for helping you keep your water clean. This is awesome. This was in here, and I'm going to put it back because it should be with the other water stuff. Now, that you don't need the filter for, but I like the idea of having the ability to filter water like that. I think it's awesome. Also in this bag, I've got various batteries. I've got a headlamp. I've got a glow stick. I've got some duct tape, because duct tape. I've got some carabiners. These things are awesome. They take up no room almost. There's no weight to them. These aren't like climber rated ones. They're just cheap carabiners, but they do have a locking thing on them. I mean, it's a carabiner. I mean, infinite uses. This is really cool. This is a fire starter. This is a pretty robust one. You pull this thing from either side, and it starts up. It'll burn for, I believe it's 90 seconds. I think it's supposed to be. I'm sorry, burns for 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure this was tested by Jaeger. It didn't go the full 30, but even if it goes 5 minutes. If you've got wet wood that is being stubborn to the light, that's awesome. And they also have a thing of waterproof matches, and it has a striker on it. So this is just fire making stuff, battery stuff, water stuff, like things that if I really needed to get to, other than medical, I think this stuff is pretty important to have. And the fact that it's in a bright-ass orange bag isn't a bad thing. It's easy to find in your backpack because they get kind of dark when it's dark out. Also on top is this. This is kind of comfy stuff. Like there's a pillow in here. There's also some first aid. I have a foot-specific first aid kit. This is from Trail Toes. I haven't had to use this, but I have foot issues, so I have some dedicated first aid stuff for your feet. I think it's a great idea. I have a blow-up pillow. I also have shock cord, bank line, and some Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape is not the same as everyone else's tape. If you don't use this, you don't know, but I'm telling you, this stuff is awesome. So anyway, so that's this bag. This is really, like, it's not important. It's there because if I need it, I need it. So there's that. This is the Refuge Medical. This is actually the bag that first aid kit came in, but I have repurposed this as ammo resupply. So in this thing, when I go to pull it open, assuming it wants to open up for me, because their pouches are very stubborn if it's not mounted to something. I've got a single pistol mag. No, I'm sorry, I have two pistol mags, so this would replenish my EDC or rig, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rifle mags in this pouch. and it's just ammo resupply. I mean, the hope is that I never even have to grab for this, that it is not something I need. But the other idea is this, and this is something to think about. What if who you're with needs it? Just a thought. So, just throwing it out there. Also, in this bag, I've got a camping blanket. It's not a whoopee, but it's actually it's a high-tech camping blanket. I'm going to be fully clothed. I'm not getting undressed unless I'm really sweaty, then maybe. But the reality is I want to be able to get up and go if I absolutely have to. If I had to, I could leave all this shit behind and move. Not that I would want to do that, but I could, or I could come back to it. So that's more of a philosophy of use thing, but the idea of maybe like string your bag up into a tree. That way you could come back to if you had to. Just a thought, throwing it out there. So camping blankets, I've got a hammock tent, and I have a very, very light sleeping bag. It's not like really rated for anything crazy, but again, it's more just if I need it, I need it. And then in the bottom here, this is hygiene. I've got toilet paper in here. I've got wet wipes. I've got lotion. I've got Neosporin. I've got sunscreen. Like this is all just like a DOP kit, just as small as I think I can make it. So that is everything that is in this bag. That is in the bottom of the bag because it is really the least important thing that's in this bag. But that's everything that's in this bag. Now, like I said, my EDC would be going into it as well. Potentially some of my EDC would go in there. Potentially a lot of my EDC pack would be going in there. So I don't have this thing packed to the gills. Like this thing is easily can take more on than what I carry in it on a daily. And that's purposeful because I want to be able to do exactly that. So this is part of my line 4. I believe I'm up to line 4 gear. And I consider it the 4th line of gear because if I had to, I would be trying to get home with what I have in my EDC pack. Like that's what if I had to, I think I could. It wouldn't be great. It would suck. But I could do it from where I work. So this is part of line 4. And I'm going to show you some other stuff that I think you should include with your line 4 gear as optionals. Coming right at you. Okay, guys, so this is kind of line 4 plus. These are things that I probably will not need, but if I needed them, I probably wish I would have them. But they're definitely not something that I'm looking at as a priority for me or my kit. It is just things that would be nice to have. So I guess first step for line 4 is change of clothes. Maybe this should be seen as a priority. I don't necessarily see it as one. I have lived in the same clothes for more than a day. I didn't die. I survived just fine. But this is kind of, I guess, the cool guy kit. I have in here a combat top. This is from Vertex. I think I got this in as a trade. It's just a zip-up combat shirt. I don't think this is waterproof or anything like that. It's not like it's a Gore-Tex layer. But it's just a combat shirt. Top, I don't know whatever you'd like to call it, that's what it is. So that's in there. I've got a pair of Cry pants. My Cry pants, these were in a trade. Again, I did not pay full price because I don't think I ever would. And what these have on them is a Velcro belt. Now, this Velcro belt that is on these matches the belt you see in the corner of the picture here. This is from Core Essentials. This is their inner belt. So pair of Cries with that. What else is in here? I have a combat shirt. This is a combat shirt. So this is basically a breathable material over the chest where your chest rig or plate carrier would lay, and then it's got cordura sleeves and pockets and patches and things. So that's in there. Still has mud from the last time I trained with it. I have in here a hat. This is a very, very thin hat. It's all busted up because it sits in this bag for forever. So that's a hat that sits in there. It's just a hat. I have a gator, like a dark colored gator. Nothing special there. And I have a second gator. I forget why this is in there. I think they came together and I just shoved them both in the bag. So this is in an SOE boot bag. So this is basically, if I needed to get into cool guy shit, or if I need to get changed because whatever the case may, fill in the blank. I'm wearing shorts and I don't want to be wearing shorts as I walk through the woods. That's what this would be kind of sourced for. I could take or leave this, and maybe after the upcoming class that'll change. My philosophy will change a little bit, because I'm definitely going to be putting this stuff to use. But I just don't see it as a necessity. I just don't. This is okay if I have the option. If I'm moving through Norristown in Pennsylvania, I don't want to be wearing this stuff. I'd much rather be wearing a dark hoodie and dark pants and a backpack. You know what I mean? So, I'm not trying to look for trouble. I'm trying to get through painlessly and not have any confrontation. That's my hope. Other Line 4 stuff, I have a battle belt. This has recently changed, and I'm using the Core Essentials. Their battle belt is kind of the base of it. I've got a high-rise leg strap holster for a Glock 19 that used to be my main EDC. It is no longer. I also have an SE3 and an extra mag on this side. I completely stole this from Jaeger. I just thought it was first of all, having a knife here is great because it's right. It doesn't poke up into my waist. It's right at hand level on my thigh. It's awesome. Having a mag here, if I had gotten shot and I had no use of my left arm, the ability to holster, pop mag, drop mag, holster, grab mag, all with one hand is fantastic. So that's why that is there. That's kind of the point of that being there. I have an SOE. This is their small tear off here. I don't know if this is where it's going to stay or not. Again, the whole thing on my belly is kind of new for me. I don't like it small on my back. I found that out the hard way. And this thing, as you can see, it gets pretty bulbous when it's packed with legit stuff, but I can always take it off. I mean, I don't have to leave it there. I'm definitely more medicaled up than I need to be. Not a bad thing, but it is true. Also have over here, I have S-Tac pouches for mags. I have 2 pistol, 2 rifle. They're awesome. I like them a lot. I don't like them on a plate carrier, but they're great for a belt. And then further back is one of the SOE roll-up dump pouches. It takes up in the room. It's not going to get in my way, and it might be nice to throw some water bottles in or some other shit. Again, there's so much hate and so much conversation about a dump pouch. It's crazy. It's just something to throw shit in. So that's my battle belt setup. I also have here a plate carrier. Before I get to the plate carrier, I also carry a subload, SOE subload. This is their Patrol or CQB subload. I forget which one it is. But it has 2 rifle mags in each one of these instead of 3. I'll post a link below. I don't remember what it's called. But I've got 2 more pistol bags, 4 more rifle mags. This may not even go on my person, but it's there if I need it. If I feel like I need to plus up ammo, I can. So I like the option for that, and the attachment for that is on the belt itself. The thing I'm probably I've spent more time on than a lot of other things that I'm probably never in a million years ever going to use is the plate carrier. Like, I cannot tell you the amount of time that I have invested in this silly thing over the years. And the reality is, if I got to go home, if I know I'm going to get shot at and I know I'm going into something like that, then yeah, sure. Otherwise, it's really not, for me, a critical thing. But on this particular rig, I have a rat's tourniquet that's going through the shoulder. I also have antenna for comms. By the way, comms are part of the plan. I'm actually going to show some of the things you may not line item gears, but things that you should probably have in your vehicle, I think, coming up. The stuff here to the left is part of that, and there's some other stuff behind the camera I'm going to be showing. These are the male end of the clips I was talking about for the mil-spec monkey. So my back of my carrier is slick, as you can see. And I have another mil-spec monkey bag that's made to go with this that has a hydro in it. But that's what these things are for. What else do we have? I have a smoke. This is an Enola Gay, one of their big ones. I have a multi-tool. Again, medical. I'm medical plussed up to hell and back again. I've got Combat Art Trains, his medical dangler. Again, I can tear it off if I need to, but it's there. On this side of the rig, I have, this is Refuge's Bearfac Mini 2.0, I think it's called. The bare minimum or something like that. I don't know. But that's right here on this side. Again, I don't know where I'm at about it. I really don't. The dangler thing is okay, but it can be cumbersome. If you have to hold your rifle for any kind of length of time on a target, being able to rest your elbow on this kit is fantastic. It really is awesome. So again, there's redundancy here that I probably will drop, but I'd rather have it and be able to dump it than not have it and need it. I'm sure if that makes sense. Anyway, so that's why all this medical is on here and my belt and everything else. And then on the back of the carrier, in the small of my back, this lives here. It actually it works really well. I can easily grab this with my right hand. I wanted a bigger fixed blade on my kit. This is a Gerber Strong. I think their Strong Arm. I believe it's called the Strong Arm. There's two versions. One's a little beefier than the other one. This, I think, is the beefier of the two. I think it's called the Strong Arm. And I had this professionally sharpened by a guy. It is scary sharp. I love the way it fits in my hand. I'm sure that won't be made fun of at all, but I really do. I've done quite a bit with this knife. You probably can't see it, but the black's kind of marked up as a result. The edge is still decent. But I have that here. The bag goes over it nicely. It takes up no room. I don't stab my arm on it, which I thought I might, but I'm a Sasquatch, so I missed that. But yeah, so that is set up right there. And the nice thing about this plate carrier, so this is a Mayflower. Yeah, this is their Mayflower. I don't know what rig it's called. I forget. But what's nice about it is it's elastic. And I don't know if this is going to show up well, but I can probably show it here easy. It has these cells that are inside the cummerbund. This thing just doesn't want to stand up for me. So it has these cells inside the cummerbund, which is nice because you can throw radios, tourniquets, a pack of Skittles, whatever it is you want. That's my radio comms plan. Is my radio goes right there in that pocket right there. That's where it lives. And then I can connect my antenna to it from my kit. So anyway, so that's what's nice about these cummerbunds, in my personal opinion. That's kind of where I'm at. On the front, I don't even know if I would keep this on the rig or if I would tear it off. So this is a placard. I'm trying to hold this up so you can see it. There we go. So this is a placard from Haley Strategic. It's elastic for 3 mags, and then you could throw 3 more in the front here, but you could also put tourniquets, whatever you could fit in an elastic mag pouch you can throw in there. So what I could do is also dump these mags and it sits flat. Because my guess is if I'm wearing this plate carrier, it's going to be slick and I'm going to have my chest rig over it. At least that's my plan. Whether that's what happens or not, who the hell knows. But that's my plate carrier. Again, this is way, 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 way down on the priority list of gear. In my opinion, I don't think this is something... I mean, should you have it? Yes, you should have anything that you want or you think you need to have. But it is definitely not the... does not need the emphasis that I certainly put into it. In the thing, I think they're level 3 plus polymer whatever plates. They weigh nothing. That's why they're in there. So there you go. That is the kind of the tail end completion of line 4, in my opinion. There are some things I'm going to show that are going to be in addition to that coming up. I guess call it line 5 or whatever you want to call it. Things that you probably should have. Certainly you should have before you have a plate carrier. For sure, 100%. But things you could add to it if you thought you needed to. And I'm going to break those out and show them to you right now. Okay, line 5. These are things that you might want to have, or maybe you should have, in your vehicle, or wherever you keep your stuff. For me, it all lives in my vehicle, which is a good and a bad thing. If I lose my vehicle, if it catches on fire, I'm screwed. But it's my plan. That's where my plan is at the moment. Do I have contingencies to that? Yes, I do. But that's my main plan. So, things you might want to add to your kit. One of the things is a rope bag. What's a rope bag? Rope bag has a lot of different connotations, apparently. I didn't understand that. My rope bag is literally a rope bag. So I have not been trained on this stuff. This is something that I have been putting off getting training because I am relatively terrified of heights. I don't really care for them at all. But I also realized that the ability to, say, get down to someone that's on an embankment that has crashed their car, or even better, to be able to hand off to a trained individual is, I think, a valuable thing. So in this bag, rope bag is exactly what it sounds like it is. It is a bag for your rope. You can have other things that live in it, but the idea is your rope is coiled in it, and you can draw your rope out of it. But in this bag, I have got a Petzl Corax harness. This was suggested to me as a legit but a relatively low cost thing I could add. I have, this is not a figure 8. I forget what this is called. Maybe it's called just a belay. You coil the rope through. I have 4 climbing rated carabiners, and then I have a Petzl Gree. So this is a descending device. Again, I haven't been trained on this shit. But that's the plan at some point, if I ever get it out of my way to do it. That's all on my harness. Also in the bag, which actually needs to go back on the harness, but I pulled them out, is a pair of climbing gloves. These are specific climbing gloves. They're padded, I guess, in certain ways, and the fingertips are open. So they're there. I also have a large coil of rated rope. And then I also have in the bottom of this a shit ton of nylon tubing, flat tubing, that has been daisy chained. So I have 3 lengths of it. I believe I think it's 100 feet, might be less, of tubular nylon that has been safety pinned together. And I have another one in there as well, I believe, a blue one. Yeah, I have another one, a blue one. That came off, I guess, at some point. But anyway, so I have the ability to hopefully get someone else who's trained to do it to descend. Ascending is a whole other story, but I have the ability to descend. And that's kind of my plan, is not necessarily to be climbing out of anything, but have the ability to get down to somebody if they're down an embankment, because that's a relatively realistic like real case situation that could happen. Um, I think with all this stuff, you really have to be careful because you can really go into the weeds. But anyway, so that's a rope bag, like a literal rope bag. Apparently, there's other terms that cover a rope bag. I did not know that. I found that when I recently watched one of Gary's videos leading up to all this training that's coming. Gary Marr of Trimus Dynamics. If you don't know who that is, you should know because he has been definitely a big influence on me and what I'm doing. So I think he's a valuable tool to use. So anyway, so that's my rope bag. And again, what I would love to do with that bag is hand it off to somebody who knows what they're doing with it, that's trained, and say, go. I also have this tote. This was inspired by Jody from Weapons Junkie. He had put one of these in his vehicle. I was like, that's a great idea. And I have used the hell out of this because we go camping with scouts, and every now and then we don't have enough food, or the plan for the food has fallen through. And I can dip into this. Just make sure you replace what you dip into because it's easy to not. So I have a rocket stove, jet boil pouch. That's what the pouch was on the back. But anyway, I have a knockoff jet boil. I forget what the brand is, Firefly or something like that, or Fire, or I don't know. Anyway, it's a jet boil. It's just a different brand. And I also have in there, there's they call it, I think, the Everlong candle or something. You can hook it up to a little propane canister, and it's a light for inside your tent. That's not crazy bright and it doesn't use electric, so that's interesting. I have a bunch of Mountain House. I have some bottles of water that are in here. I have by the way, this is kind of an interesting topic. Smart water bottles are incredibly resilient. Not all brands of water bottles are. These are stupidly resilient. There are campers that just use these as their water vessels. So just throwing it out there, I think this is huge. Huge tip. Smart water bottles. I also have some fire starting stuff in here. I've got some Licky Chewies. I've got some lifeboat rations. Yeah, it's basically food, ability to cook food, and water. Going into Wolverine Warfare, I believe we'll be using a lot of emery stuff just because you don't need a fire for that. And if you wanted to like hide, the ability to not have to start a fire would be awesome. So there's that. I'm going to pause and I'm going to grab some of the other stuff that I think is other things you either would be nice to have or maybe you should have. Back to things I think you should have. Now, this I think is more and more for me, it's a mandatory thing. And if you watch any of the things going on during Philadelphia Summer of Love, and just in general, people just disaffected, I think the word is, for what's going on around them, is a gas mask of some kind. There's a bunch of different brands. Avon, Mira. This is a Parcel. It's a cheap option, but I was able to get a bunch cheap. Do I think it's the best one? I'm sure it's not. But if I needed it just for some tear gas canisters that are going around, or smoke, or if you fill in the blank, I think it's a great option to have. You should have it. You should really have this in conjunction with a fire extinguisher for in your home. Because if you're able to breathe without inhaling smoke while working through your house to, say, find your child, because if I'm not leaving my child in my home, like, that's just not happening. Whatever else is happening, that's not happening. But if I wind up getting smoke inhalation and become another victim, I'm not helping anybody. So that's what this is. Excuse me as I move my mic a little bit. So that's what this is. That's what this is for. I have one in the house by my fire extinguisher in my room, because there's fire extinguishers upstairs, downstairs, all over the place. But this is by my fire extinguisher in my room. Theoretically, you should have one for everyone in your house. But I have one in my vehicle. I think this is a must. Not a maybe. This is a must in my personal opinion. Other things that are nice to have. I've gone over this already. This is a battery bank. It's a very large battery bank. There are smaller ones out there, but this is the one that I have. Let's see what the power is at, because I haven't checked this in a while. 76% needs to be charged. So this is from Blue Eddy. It has a magnetic charger on top for your phone. It's got plugins, all the things. It's got setup for charging through a solar panel. I have that cord in here, as well as the charging cord for the wall. It'll be getting plugged in tonight. But this is it's not a must-have, but I use this a ton on job sites where there's no outlet to plug into for charging batteries and things. I think this is great. I think it's something you should have. It is definitely not something that you have to have, but it's not a bad idea to have. And you could plus this up with a bunch of different things, but this is kind of, and again, SOA boot bag. They're awesome. Another thing that I think is a nicety, not a necessity. This is the Combat Art Training Radio Man Pack. It has a more powerful than, say, your normal ham radio inside of it. It is 100 watts versus 5 watts, so it can punch further. I have this set up with an antenna on the roof of my vehicle. That way I can communicate from my vehicle. It has a handy-dandy handheld thing to talk into, push to talk. This is nice to have. It also can act as a repeater. So the idea of a repeater being, if you had to communicate between 2 points and they don't have line of sight, this could act as the repeater for those 2 points. That does have that ability. There's a larger battery in the bottom of this. I have done a video on this. Nothing's really changed about it since the video. I'll link it below. This is a nice to have, not a have to have. Like, this is nice to have simply because of the idea that your ability to communicate is enhanced by it. This is not a have to have at all, but it's a nice to have. So some kind of radio for your truck that's mounted in your truck, however you decide to do it. This is not ideal for mounting in your truck, but it's a good, kind of gives me most of what I want, not everything I need, if that makes any sense. So there's that. And the other thing that rides in my car, which can have a couple different uses. Again, SOA boot bag. This is a bag I've put together for classes. So this is a rifle class in a bag. So it has some smokes in it. It's got knee pads. It's got extra ear pro, and it's got 1, 2, 3 loaded Combat Art Training bandoliers. Those bandoliers can hold 6 mags each. So that's 18 fully loaded mags. You could also look at this as a hate sack. I have a lot of ammo here, and I have the ability to reload other people, which I think is awesome because it means I add more value to the team. So that's also a nice to have, not a have to have. So I hope this whole series has kind of made sense to you. And I hope that going through it gives you some ideas. This is a lot. This has taken a lot of time to develop and go through. I've made mistakes. I've corrected mistakes. I've probably made other mistakes that I'll find out the hard way. But it's a good option. Like, there's certain things that I want to have to have. They're non-negotiables. And some things that it's nice to have, you know. Mainly for class, but if I had to resupply a bunch of people, the option to be able to do that is pretty cool. But the idea is class in a bag. Like, that's the purpose of this bag here. So that's kind of it. That's the conclusion. All right, guys. So there you go. This is a lot of gear. This is not a necessity for you. You know what makes all of this gear completely useless? No training. I could have all this in my car. If I don't have any training on it, then what's the point? It makes it just a pile of gear. It makes it basically a giant loot giveaway. That's what it turns into. And yes, this is an incredible amount of time, expenditure of finances, investment in time, that's sitting on this table, and this is not what you have to do. But I think that it is something that if you are not at least thinking about this, if your head is not there, your mindset is not there, then you're not going to be an asset for the people around you. It doesn't mean you have to have all this stuff. What it does mean is you have to at least be thinking about it. Like, if something happened tomorrow and you're at home, what are you doing? If someone you care about is in trouble, what are you doing? You should have answers to these questions. How are you going to get there? What if you can't drive? What if there's people in the way that want to shoot you, and the only option is to go through them, and you can't go around them? That's the point of all this, is to get all of us thinking about the idea that is the balloon going to drop? Are the Cubans going to be dropping from the sky? No. The likelihood's very, very small. What could very easily happen is you could be cut off from your family. Right? That could easily happen. It has happened to many people, whether it's a tornado, a hurricane, a riot, just general chaos. What are you doing to get home? How can you get home? How is it going to make it so that it's feasible for you to get home? That is the point of all this stuff. It is for the last 4 years has been, what happens if I have to get home? If 2019 into 2020 and through 2020 wasn't a wake-up call for you, then I don't know what else is going to be. But it needs to be. This is the big awakening for all this is Wolverine Warfare. I'm going to be dropping this video Tuesday, which will be the 18th. In advance of a live that I'm going to be doing with Gary of Tremendous Dynamics. I'm going to be on his live chat. We're going to be talking about my preparations getting ready for class. What am I doing? What am I changing? What am I adding? What am I subtracting? Obviously, all this stuff isn't going there because I don't have the ability to carry it. But a lot of it will be. A lot of it will be. That won't be. This might not be. This will be. This will be. This will be for sure. This will be for sure. This will be for sure. Boots would be nice. So, again, this I'm trying to put this out as a series of videos. Hopefully you stick through and you watch it all, because if I dropped it as one, it'd probably be over an hour. I don't want to put you through that. So I'm going to drop them piecemeal. But I might then, after they're done piecemeal, kind of edit them together into one video. But yeah. So that's it, guys. I hope that you learned something. I hope that it added value to you. I hope it got you thinking, because that's the point of all this stuff. And remember, guys, your path is out there. And it might be through the woods to get to your house. Or it might be on the side of a road to get to your house. Or it might be through a town to get to your home. Or it might just be to go to a local training event. Remember, your path is out there. Go find it.
It's a red dawn morning.